Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
According to a recent poll, 9 in 10 Americans love turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh my
Welcome
God.
back to Inside the Game. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wangler, Ryan Klinsky, our producer. And yes, I did Google that yesterday. I did ask some people. I did ask our soccer network social media accounts, and the vast majority would agree that turkey is the main component of Thanksgiving, regardless of your traditions and or your dietary issues. But yeah, Nathan, how are you doing?
Isn't there something uniquely American about going against the grain, though? That's all I got to say. You know, I mean, going against the grain, doing your own thing. There's something uniquely American about that. That's all I got to say. So, I mean, the one dissenting voice out of the 10 might have a point. By the way, that's 10% of the population. All right. So, I mean, if we're going to stretch that out like big picture thing here, it might be 10% of the population. So, also, just cite your sources, man. Who did the study come from?
Oh, it came from, I don't know.
You can't say Google.
Huh?
That doesn't count.
What is it?
It's just. I'm just saying that doesn't count.
Are you saying that Google doesn't count?
Google counts, but Google brings you to the study. You got to tell me is this like Stanford? Is this,
I don't
Yale?
I don't know. I don't know. But again,
then you're just making it up. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't not. It's not making it up. It's not making it up. Not
Just
at all. I firmly believe that the vast majority of the population, well over 70%, would agree that turkey is the main component of Thanksgiving. Again, after all, the actual image of Thanksgiving is a turkey. If you were to Google just Thanksgiving, it would be a turkey. Okay, guys. You Google Christmas, a Christmas tree is probably going to show up in a picture. We talked about this yesterday, right? You might get some baby Jesus in there too, but there's a chance it's going to be a Christmas tree. And so, we can talk all day long about there's some personal things here, like Ryan. And again, Ryan, I don't disagree that if you don't like turkey, you're not going to have turkey on Thanksgiving. But that doesn't mean that turkey is not the main aspect of Thanksgiving and the main, I guess, not I would call it the sponsor, but the mascot. The main mascot in Thanksgiving would be the turkey, especially since we don't like the Pilgrims anymore.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the country as a whole doesn't appreciate the Pilgrims.
The top rope.
Huh?
So that from the top rope.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if we're gonna go that way, I mean, you have to have a turkey in the room, right? We established that yesterday.
I think if you're going to be hosting Thanksgiving dinner, there's got to be a turkey in the room.
Right.
Now, does that
Cooked
mean
or
you're eating the
uncooked?
turkey? No. Doesn't mean you have to eat the turkey.
Okay.
My daughter does not
No,
like
it
turkey.
doesn't.
She doesn't like turkey. She likes mashed potatoes. She likes
saying.
all the other stuff. But there's
So,
turkey
right.
available.
Right. You don't have to make the turkey, man. Just get a turkey and bring him to dinner.
So you could just have a frozen turkey just chilling.
Not even just a live turkey in the
Oh,
room.
live turkey would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again,
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Yes. I mean, yes. I think
It's
that
a
we're
New
going
Age
the route
Thanksgiving,
of,
though. You
I
don't
think
kill
that
him.
to have a cold.
You welcome the turkey to dinner.
Yes.
Make him dinner. Yeah.
I think there should be a cooked turkey available, but I mean, like, again, to each their own. But
A cooked
again, we're
and
talking
a
about
live
dinner here.
turkey.
We're not, no
Yes.
centerpiece. Just yeah. It's crazy how far we're going to take this thing, isn't it? I mean,
You're the one that's taking
I think,
it.
right. I think you're a little offended, man. I think
I am absolutely
2-on-1
offended
right
by the
now.
fact that
Oh,
we
my
actually
Lord.
that we actually think that Thanksgiving does not need to have a turkey.
doesn't.
I find that to be offensive. I do. I find it to be somewhat offensive. And again, if you're watching right now anywhere on any of our platforms, and if you disagree with me, I would love to know why. And you cannot use the things like I'm a vegetarian. Okay. Again, because not everybody's a vegetarian. And so all I'm saying is at Thanksgiving, turkey. That's it. What do you do on Hey, we talk about football. What happens on Thanksgiving? The Turduncan.
The Lions lose.
Hey,
The
all right.
Turduncan.
I got one for you right here, Turduncan. Okay, hold on. I'm going to read this one off. I went my entire childhood. This is from Andres on TikTok. I went my entire childhood. By the way, my voice is messed up today, so if anybody's hearing that, it happens.
Sure.
It's that time of the year. I went my entire childhood without having turkey for Thanksgiving. We baked a ham 100 times better than a turkey.
Yep. Sounds like a smart guy.
That's probably because the person who made the turkey didn't know how to make a turkey. We keep talking about this.
Turkey's so bland. There's no taste. There's nothing. There's no flavor.
Here, I'll give you one.
You keep saying that, but chicken without salt and pepper is also no flavor. I don't understand why you're saying this.
You just throw some seasoning on it, and the seasoning does not make a difference when it comes to turkey. Turkey's just not good.
Ryan is coming from a place of not knowing people. It's okay.
Hey, JT,
there's one constant. There's one constant on Thanksgiving. It's that the Detroit Lions will lose a football game. That's the only thing that is a constant when it comes to Thanksgiving. Even when we're good, we lose games. It doesn't make sense. We just lose. That's the one constant. If that happens, it's a good Thanksgiving.
Justin Bowman said ham is better than turkey, but turkey is a tradition.
Tradition, but does it matter? It's just because it's tradition.
So I said tradition's a cop-out sometimes.
The way that John said vegetarian, you can't say you're vegetarian. You can't just say it's tradition. We just have to do it. No. It just because it's tradition does not mean it has to be there.
Ryan, but okay, so my question for you, your extended family, real quick. Are you talking about just you and your immediate family? Are we having a dinner with the extended family as well for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's extended family.
Okay, so extended families, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever.
Yeah, they don't like turkey either because it sucks.
But yet this guy eats turkey, processed turkey on his side.
Yeah, because it tastes good that way.
It's funny how it all works out.
That's the one thing that's weird about your argument. Everything else lines up, but you're like, man, I could eat some turkey lunch meat, but
exactly,
other stuff,
I could. Just like I don't like tomatoes, but I like ketchup.
It's salted and cured, dude. Just put some salt on it,
And just like how I only like orange juice when I'm sick. I will not drink that unless I'm sick. Nate, I think you might need some orange juice.
Yeah, I need some orange juice, bad.
Well, we can belabor this all day long. I just want you guys everybody to know that, again, probably starting next week, we'll have some new hosts here joining me who believe in turkey on Thanksgiving. But
hey, Nate, it was a good run.
It was fun. It was good. Can't believe it ended that quick.
Just trying to get inside the heads of again, it's interesting, right? Well, turkey sucks. Again, my wife will be cooking a Thanksgiving dinner for you so that you can try turkey the right way.
Can I just say, I think my favorite part about yesterday was we're sitting here, we're arguing, and then all of a sudden John goes, "Hey, Bianca."
Dude, I think that's why I lost my voice. I've never laughed at. It's been a decade since I've laughed that hard. God, that was so funny.
Hey, Bianca.
Just to come in and back you up.
The reason I brought her into this is because Bianca's she's not American, right? She was born in Brazil. She spent time in Canada, so she's been to 2 different countries, and she understands that Thanksgiving there's a turkey. And so I got the 2 Americans here who are like, no, who've been here their whole lives. Which I could almost. And again, Nate, what do you guys have on Thanksgiving in your house?
Oh, we have turkey, turkey, ham. Yeah, yeah.
But you have turkey. Do you like
Hawaiian
turkey?
Rolls. I personally, I love it. I love.
Okay,
I
so
love
why the hell why are you love turkey and you're sitting here agreeing with Ryan on his? I'm trying to understand why you. I want to dig deeper into this.
It's America, bro. You can have whatever you want. Honestly, if I showed up to Thanksgiving and I only had green bean casserole and rolls the entire time, I'd be all right with that. I don't have to.
You wouldn't be disappointed. Okay, fine. Do you have turkey any other time of the year? Like, do you have a turkey dinner any time of the year?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, but you don't make your own. Yeah. You go, mom and dad, they have turkey dinner. Little turkey.
Yeah, or there's the turkey from Meijer. It's just like a personal turkey thing you can get and eat. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Meijer has personal, like, pre-cooked turkeys, like on the rotisserie?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know they have the chicken. I know they had turkey.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's pretty damn good.
All right, well, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so Nate just wants to be argumentative, and Ryan is just dug down to the fact he just doesn't like turkey. He likes processed turkey is what Ryan likes.
We all love turkey in one way or the other. It's just for some reason
Let me ask this question. Yeah. If turkey dinner, Ryan, if the turkey itself tasted the way that you experience your lunch meat turkey, would you want more of it?
What if they just rolled a tray of lunch meat turkey out there? Would you have it?
Yeah, and with some.
I wouldn't eat it. I don't eat it. It's not good by itself. Like, you have to have it on a sandwich. Like it.
like
See,
a
turkey's
Hawaiian
like-
roll. You know?
Turkey's like Here. Let me compare. Turkey is Christian Pulisic. He needs other things around it to be really, really good, aka what he does at AC Milan compared to what he does for the national team. Turkey needs help. It cannot stand on its own. Turkey needs help. Turkey is not the type of guy that is going to go out there and win you games. He needs help. And Turkey needs help from other pieces like a cheese, like some bread, maybe some mayo, maybe throw some mustard on there, whatever it is. But it needs help in order to win.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Well,
First
turkey's
off, a
hurt
good
right
club
now, so we're
sandwich.
gonna have
Add
to
some bacon,
substitute it
right?
with
Some
something
tomato.
else.
You can do that.
Yeah, club sandwich.
tomato. Nope, not tomato.
How about gravy? Got to throw some gravy on your mashed potatoes. Do you like mashed potatoes?
I like mashed potatoes.
Do you like gravy?
I don't like gravy.
See, that's the thing too, right? You don't like gravy, so therefore you don't put gravy on your turkey, which actually makes it, again, that would be like the accompaniment, right? Do you like green beans?
Hell no.
Does not like green beans, any kind, right? Because I like the French cut green beans. Do you like the thin ones, Nate, or do you like the French cut ones?
I'll go both ways.
Yep.
Green beans are like the 8th or 9th guy off the bench. Just not really necessary, but they're just
broccoli?
there.
No,
Broccoli?
no.
If it's
Green
warm.
bean casserole?
No.
He
No.
doesn't like the
Green
green
bean
bean casserole.
casserole
I think that we
is-
put in there a
is
little bit
top
of
three.
what was that soup?
That's top
Cream of
three.
mushroom soup in that bad boy? In your
Yeah.
casserole? Yeah, see?
Yeah,
There you go.
anyways.
So we're getting down to this. So with lunch meat and the accompaniment, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Either way, it doesn't matter. Here's the deal: we've got a great show lined up for you today.
Oh,
we're going to
my
talk.
Lord.
We are going to talk about other things other than Thanksgiving. Real quick, today is my son Nathan's 15th birthday, and so want to give a shout out to good old Nathan. I would text him, but Nathan has lost his phone for a period of time. And so this is, not that he's watching this right now, but maybe one day later tonight he can watch, later tonight he can take a look and after I say it to him in person. But
So he shares a birthday then with my aunt. It's also her birthday today too.
yeah.
So
yeah.
shout out to the October 29th
Yeah,
birthdays.
Nathan does love his Thanksgiving turkey, by the way. Want to put that out there. But yeah, happy birthday to my son Nathan. He's a good kid, like his father, a little bit of a knucklehead sometimes, but he's a good kid. So and hard headed like my two co-hosts here.
Nah, we're good. We're the smart ones.
Oh man. Anyways, good show lined up. We'll talk some MLS here about. Hey, is there this thing? This idea that the MLS wants to get some players back here after the World Cup? We'll dive into that. College soccer. Right now, in its current state, you've got one season. It's in the fall. You play a spring season, but it doesn't matter. There's some conversation amongst the community right now that they should change college soccer as we see it and as we know it. And we'll get into that. We'll also dive into our question of the day. I know there might be one other thing we'll dive into there as well. But that's our show here today at number 180 here on Inside the Game. To go anywhere, we'll dive into the MLS and the World Cup and what the plans are after the World Cup coming up here on the other side of the break.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics.
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Welcome back to Inside the Game here on this Wednesday, October 29th. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler, Ryan Glinsky. And let's talk here MLS and World Cup and what are we looking to do here at the conclusion of the World Cup as it relates to U.S. men's national team players playing abroad?
It's come out this week that the MLS is going to be interested in buying a couple of our USA men's national team players that are overseas, of course. They'll be trying to bring in a couple American players to their league during the summer of 2026 following the World Cup. And I think it's just probably just to build on some of that momentum if they play well. But the question is this something that will hurt or help our nation and or our national team?
I think it's capitalizing on momentum is what it is, right? And so what's going to happen is over the next 3 or 4 months, right, we're going to see the marketing wheels in motion. And then when the conclusion of the World Cup happens, what are you going to do to capitalize on it? And so you're going to have a window in order to do that. And so I think this is what they're going to – because to be fair – where the MLS is right now, how much bigger can it get? And how many more fans can you get, right? And so I think how the United States men's national team does in the World Cup will actually have a direct impact on that. And then what happens after the World Cup? Will they go back to their overseas teams? And the people who came and watched these games they go back to their TV and watch the EPL again. And no, but you want to drive sales in stadiums. So how do you do that? You get players like Pulisic back in uniform here in the United States, and that drives traffic and it keeps momentum going. So I think it's all about momentum. I think it's all about, again, revenue. And if you're trying to grow the sport, that's the only way you can do it post-World Cup.
The 2026 World Cup is the single most important moment in this game in the United States in the last 30 years. Okay, so I think we realize just how big and just how important it is. And one of my favorite interviews that we've had on the show so far, going back a ways, is when we got Alexi Lalas on here. And the reason being is because we actually got to talk to someone who was on the front lines of the first ever event of this happening, of it being hosted here in the United States. He was playing, he was on the team, he was in the environment. And he talked about the immediate shift after the World Cup happened here in the United States. Founding Major League Soccer, players coming up, having a professional league for the first time in the U.S., and really kind of the momentum that gave them to begin to grow the game. We've seen the amount of growth that we've seen in the last 30 years, whether that be reffing, whether that be education, whether that be the academies, whether that be anything that you look at in terms of the soccer landscape in the United States. Popularity has gone up, certainly, in the last 30 years. All of that, or at least a good majority of that, stemmed from the World Cup itself. And so what does the leap look like now in the United States when we have it here in 2026? The way I look at it, like, these are two separate questions. Like, what it does for the national team, I don't know if it has any sort of adverse effect on the national team. Even if they did come back to play in the United States, I don't think that necessarily takes away from the type of player they are or the level of play. Maybe somewhere on down the line you could say, oh, it had a negative effect. But I don't think about the national team directly in this situation. The impact it would have on the nation to be able to bring those players here to the United States to play would be immense if we were able to convince them to do so. That's the difference in my mind. But it's the convincing of those players to come here to play, even after having the World Cup here and play in Major League Soccer. That's the hardest part. Because we looked at the Michael Wilbon quote the other day, and some people might look at that as, oh, okay, though that's a general statement on soccer. You know, he doesn't like soccer. I don't think it was a soccer statement. Now, he might not like the sport, but I think that was a statement on Major League Soccer. Because again, we talked about yesterday, like, people want to watch the best in the world. The best in the world are not here in the MLS. And so for them to target American players and want to bring them back, I could see them getting a handful. Are they going to get the best American players to come here and play? I would argue probably not, because those guys want to be amongst the best, and the best are in, again, the Premier League, the Champions League, and everywhere else. The MLS can get close, the MLS can grow, but I don't think it's ever going to get to that level. But in terms of an overall impact on the soccer landscape in the United States, it could have a massive impact. Last time we did it, we got our own professional league. And everything kind of launched from there. So what does the second wave of that look like for U.S. soccer?
I would say I think they're definitely going to get a couple of players that are overseas, and I'm thinking of a couple of names here in front of me that I could see kind of come over here. I think a Gio Reyna could definitely come over here. I think Brendan Aronson could come over here. I think a Mark McKenzie could also come over here. But I think that they will definitely have to. I think they're going to bring a couple of players over, or from overseas back. I think a Josh Sargent maybe would also. But the players like a Christian Pulisic, an Anthony Robinson, a Tim Weah, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, those players that are a little bit of step. By the way, Tyler Adams, what he's doing in the Premier League this year is unreal. Like, this kid is an absolute stud right now. We'll talk about that in another day. But those players are established. They are not coming over here to the MLS to play again. And they'll play in the MLS when they're 30-something after the 2030 World Cup, whatever it is. I think they will. But I don't think those players are going to come over here. And I think that would hurt us in the end if those types of players come over here. I don't see them coming over to America to play in the U.S. I think they would proceed to play in the Champions League, play overseas, and play with the best talent. But I could definitely see some not younger players, but some fringe players for their team come over here, make that jump back into the MLS and dominate. I could definitely see that. And I would, to the answer of my own question, I think it would hurt us more. It would hurt us from a national team standpoint, but from a league standpoint, it would continue to grow.
Yeah. Well, and the money is comparable too. I mean, that's the other side of the conversation that we need to address, because the money is there for Major League Soccer. Like, the resources are there. They can make it happen. They can make anything happen. I mean, hell, they got Messi. So, I mean, that to me, I think proves that you have the ability to pull anyone, at least from a financial perspective. But you're right. I think the top end players probably not. But even if you can just nab like a Brendan Aronson or Josh Sargent or any of those players, the bubble players, if you can get those guys to come back, that's a massive step in the right direction for Major League Soccer. That's a big step.
Again, I can't foresee the future in the way that maybe we would want to. I think how successful this U.S. men's national team in the World Cup will dictate a lot of things. I don't think necessarily it will. No, I think it will, because again, if you're a player, right? Think of this from this perspective, right? If you are a player, you have a publicist, you've got managers, and all those things, right? And if you have an unbelievable showing in the World Cup, if you're Tyler Adams, and you are doing great right now, but you do even better for the men's team in the World Cup, and your price, your worth, your value goes up, and it goes up here in the United States, I think players will absolutely jump ship for more money. And so I think that the opportunity to have more exposure, to increase their brand awareness, all those things in America are far more important than brand awareness over in Europe. And so I think that if you're in it for the long haul, if you want to make money, right, because here's the thing, right? The payday for Beckham was at the tail end of his career in the EPL, right? But he made a ton of money while he was here. I would argue he probably made more money here than he did over there. And so I think if that is and again, right now, Tyler Adams makes good money over there. Could he make better money over here? I would argue that yes. I think Tyler Adams would make more money here than he is over there. And so if he's about finishing out his career, if he's about brand awareness, if it's about creating, this opportunity for him to do what other players that have come before him that have been European, I think players will jump ship if it makes sense. It has to make sense, though. I think that would be it. And I don't see a Pulisic coming back, but I do think that players like you mentioned, like McKennie, Adams, Robinson.
I don't think Robinson or Adams ever leave. They're too important to their Premier League teams. Bournemouth
the
is
only
top
issue,
4 for crying out loud right now.
No,
I mean, money is leverage. You're right. You got a good point there. Like, money is leverage, and that's what Major League Soccer has. And so that to them brings them a lot of hope. The only difficult thing is, man, like, do you actually want to leave the best league in the world? You know, like, do you actually want to leave the
maybe you want to come home. Maybe
I get it. Yeah.
Maybe you want to be home. Maybe you want to be And so I think that there's something to be said about, again, it's different for the European player coming here. It's completely different for the player who was born here, raised here, wants to play here. And if they come into this environment and they are just accepted in this whole, they see what is capable as far as being in these environments, these stadiums. I absolutely do think that might make a player jump ship.
I do think one impactful American player making that decision could change the tide of all this. I will say that. Like, if one of those top premier level players decides, hey, I'm going to take the money, I'm going to come back to the United States, I'm going to be the face of the league, right? They can put me in commercials, they can promote me. I mean, as much as I love Son Heung-min and as much as I love Lionel Messi, it doesn't really matter what commercial you put them in. Unfortunately, they're not Americans, so they're not going to hit the American audience quite the same as an impactful top-end American player coming back to Major League Soccer. I will say that. I think one out of that list, and Ryan, you listed off a lot of the names, the top-end names that would never do it, right? And, what did Justin Bieber say once upon a time, right? Never say never. So there's, in my mind, there's always a chance. And if one of them decides to make that choice, it could change everything for Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I could definitely.
Right now. Hold on.
I could definitely see. Nate was frozen there for a while, so I was a little confused on that. But you're good now. It was weird. You're frozen, but we could hear you. But no, I disagree and agree with John's point earlier about how the World Cup for how the U.S. does is integral to what happens, and I think what the U.S. does is absolutely important. But I disagree with the point of, a player could come over here and jump ship that are already established over there. There's a couple players that are already established over there. McKennie, Adams, Pulisic, Robinson. Like, those players are established over there. They're an established player. And I don't see any of those guys unless all of a sudden they're given a godfather of a contract.
And let me give you a good example, right? We're all hockey fans here, right? Like, the Red Wings built their dynasty off of, like, Soviets that essentially we stole from the Soviet Union. Like, all those guys with the OV names, they weren't supposed to be over here. We essentially stole them, right? And so, but since the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia has a professional hockey league. Now, I don't know what that looks like now that they're in wartime and everything's going on, but leading up to that, Russia arguably rivaled the NHL with the hockey league that they had. And a lot of the guys that were from Russia wanted to go back and play. And we saw that trend from them when they got older. They would leave and they would get comparable contracts to what they would get in the NHL to play at home. However, the issue is it's not the NHL. That's always the problem. They would play in the NHL until they were capable or they thought that, they had reached the end of their line. Then they would go home to Mother Russia and play there and play for good money. But how do you swing that to a player who's like, I'm already in the best league in the world? That's a hard thing to do. I think
2032, 2031, that's when they'll make that jump. But right now in 2026, they will not be doing that unless they get some godfather of a contract where they're getting $30 million a year or something.
Again, the only reason why these players are over there right now is not for the money. It's because it's the best leagues. And again, if Christian Pulisic was one of the greatest players in the game, he would have a superior contract. He does not have that over there. He makes good money. I mean, his value is where it needs to be. But over here in this country, his value would be astronomical. And so if that money would come knocking on the door, he'd come back. And again, especially if the U.S. men's national team just shits the bed and they don't do anything in the World Cup, they lose in the group stage and they have a bad showing, and Christian Pulisic doesn't do great. It's not great for American soccer. I don't think we even have this conversation. It doesn't mean anything. But if they do have a good showing, I think it works out.
Pulisic's only making $4 to $5 million a year.
Yeah,
that's wild. It's crazy to me that I look at $4 or $5 million and I'm like, that's not that much. But like compared to other American superstars,
NFL,
that's
NBA.
chump change, man. Wow.
Goff's making $50 million a year.
Because at some point in time, the reason why players go there is because it does give them a chance to play against the best, and they get paid, right? But there's another part of this is where, hey, I want to play with my buddies. I wanna be home. I want to be close to mom and dad. I want to be in my environment. And so money will get him back here. Money will get him all back here. And so if you're trying to open up the bank account and say, here you go, here's a blank check, come on back, I don't think they're going to say no to that. I think that, again, certain players will. Certain players will. But certain players will not. And I actually think Pulisic would actually make his way home. I actually do.
Do you think next year, though?
I think, first and foremost, when is his contract up?
2027.
Yeah. So,
2027, 2028. It'd be 2028 actually. But he's actually currently in talks of extending that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we will see. But again, I think money talks and bullshit walks, as they say.
Yeah.
And I do believe that if the blank check were there and you're going to offer him Lionel Messi money,
20 a year.
I think you'd see him back.
You
here.
can deal with an extra $16 million in the bank. That's not too bad.
And again, to come home and not have to. I mean, again, there's a lot that goes into this. He's playing over in Italy, so I know he had to learn German when he was in with Dortmund. I mean, so learning Italian, right? So I mean, there's something to be said about coming home, and I think players would want to come home if the money was there. Right now, it's about playing. Right now, it's about playing and getting paid. At some point in time, it's just about the money.
Yeah.
And I think that will be a big issue here in the near future. But it's a great conversation nonetheless. So when we come back here from our next commercial break, we're going to dive into this whole college soccer conversation. And Gio Reyna, he has some thoughts on the last World Cup, and we'll dive into that as well. You're watching Inside the Game number 180 here on this Wednesday morning.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game on this Wednesday morning, number 180. Just 20 episodes away here from 200. I'm Jonathan Turner, alongside Nathan Wengler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. And before we dive into this college soccer conversation, I want to get this Gio Reyna quote and his thoughts out of the way so that we can spend some time talking college soccer. What did Gio Reyna have to say here about his previous World Cup experience?
So he was interviewed. I forgot the place, but he was interviewed by an interviewer about his move to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and then talked about how he had his quotes about Pochettino, and then he was talked about the 2022 World Cup and that fiasco. And he said, at the end of the day, I was just upset that I wasn't playing. I was playing at Dortmund. I thought I was going to play at the World Cup. Ultimately, in the end, I didn't do that. I guess the frustration and the disappointment was just wanting to play and help my country. It's in the past. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. He does say, though, later on in the interview that he does think about the World Cup and what happened quite a bit, actually.
Yeah,
I would imagine he probably
so.
would. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and unfortunately, this isn't like U13 soccer where what you do with your team isn't going to hit the national stage, right? And so, in this case, international stage. I mean, it was a complete and utter debacle. I mean, to be fair, I mean, Berhalter, I mean, should have lost his job over that whole nightmare, or was
Yeah.
suspended over that whole nightmare.
Then
You
he
know,
got it back.
it's like I came back. It's like what happened in that whole scenario between Claudio Reyna, Gio, Berhalter, and U.S. Soccer was a complete and utter disgrace. And so, yeah, I would absolutely feel bad that he has to think about that on a regular basis. But at the same time, that might also be the reason why he never walks back into a World Cup ever again. You know, because again, the one thing I've learned in my lifetime is that sometimes second chances, they don't come. They don't. You don't get them. You're one and done. How many players have gone into U.S. men's national team camp or been invited to a trial and they didn't pull through, they didn't have a good showing, and they've never been welcomed back? Or, hey, you have a player who got themselves in trouble and they're no longer on the team. Everyone knows about it. They don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's a real thing in our world. And as much as it sucks, it is the reality in a lot of cases because there's always a next man up mentality, right? There's always a player who's waiting in the wings. Right? Doesn't matter where it is. And so I think that's a real thing. And I think that, you know, again, if he doesn't ever wear a U.S. men's national team jersey in a World Cup, it'll probably go back to that moment of immaturity where he threw a tantrum during practices and trainings. And,
Yeah.
you know, and look, what happened with Hope Solo did the exact same thing. Let's be honest. She threw a tantrum too, and she almost lost everything. And she's arguably the best goalkeeper I think the U.S. men's national team ever had.
Yeah.
You know, so and she threw tantrums and she almost lost everything. She did lose everything. She's had a number of her own issues as well, but I think that's a good perspective. So, Nate, what are your thoughts?
Progress starts where ego dies, my friends. And that is something that Gio Reyna had to learn the hard way. And we've seen this saga of parents getting involved in their sons' messes in the U.S. soccer sphere. We saw it this year with Christian Pulisic. Now, unfortunately, you can't just make the executive decision not to play Christian Pulisic. Okay, if you do that, you're going to lose your job as the head man for the U.S. men's national team. That's just not an option. But for Claudio Reyna, he's not one of those players to where there's just you can make every excuse in the book for his attitude and his actions, and that certainly wasn't the case. Now, I'm not going to take all of the pressure off of Greg Berhalter here. Like, I think in hindsight, we're realizing some of the things that he did horribly wrong, and that was certainly one of them, and he certainly mismanaged it. And again, the biggest single game in his career, with the exception of a couple of wins against Mexico, was a draw against England. And so I'm not going to take all of that off of Greg Berhalter's shoulders because I do think he is deserving of part of the blame. But I think for Gio Reyna, that moment there, again, you can use it as a springboard to send you forward, or, you know, you can have it hold you back. And again, I don't know what that looks like for him. I will say I think the field and the amount of players we have to choose from now is a little bit different than what it was 4 years ago. Like I said, like a lot of these guys they're older, they're further along in their careers. Now we're seeing guys that are emerging, you know, that are starting to make their mark. And so it's making it harder for Gio Reyna to find a consistent spot on this team. But you hope that just kind of launches him in the right direction. I understand why he would be upset. I understand why he would be mad, but you can't put yourself above everybody else that's around you. The minute you do that, you become a cancer, right? We've talked about this, and he was a cancer in that moment. And so did he grow from that? I don't know. We'll see in 2026. We'll see if he's out on the field. But again, sometimes you need that ego death to send you in the right direction. And I think that one individual moment there in the World Cup was that for Gio Reyna.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, again, you know, that, and I loved your quote, which is, you know, ego. Say it again.
Progress starts where ego dies.
Yeah, I think it's great because, again, we all have our moments of immaturity, right? We all have that. And, you know, I think there's entitlement's a real thing too, right? You think that you are entitled to something. I think that's obviously something that we deal with a lot in this country and around the world is you think you deserve something when in fact you don't. And
the way the system's set up, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so I looking at the whole picture of that World Cup and and it was just it was a black eye, a black mark, whatever you want to call it, and it did not make the U.S. men's national team look good. It made U.S. soccer look terrible, and so if that is going to be something that's going to be sit with him forever, and if he never wears a jersey in the World Cup, it's because of that, again, because he would have to show. Because, again, coaches and everybody else, you're going to put a player out there that it can change the game. And can Gio Reyna be a game changer? Now, he has shown that he has these moments where he could do things, but he is someone that can go out there, right, that, you could put back out there in that moment, and he would rise above everything and take the team on his back and go. I don't think Gio Reyna is that player. And so that's why it's also going to be a struggle for him to go to where he wants to go. But, Ryan, what are your thoughts before we dive into college soccer?
I mean, Reyna's I had a lot of high hopes for him when he was coming through the ranks of Dortmund, and I thought he had a promising 2019-2020 season, whatever that kind of the pause in the middle, obviously, and then got going again. I thought he had a promising start, I would say. Him and Haaland were really good, and Haaland called him the American Dream. But he hasn't lived up to that up to this point. I think ego has definitely played a factor, but I think him, kind of getting that, I wouldn't say it's a reality check, but kind of getting that reality check at the World Cup, and I think the quote that he just had there kind of showed a little bit of growth, but no, hopefully with Borussia Mönchengladbach, he can, kind of really get into his own a little bit. He started a couple of games, has played a little bit better, but ultimately I would like to see Gio Reyna on this team and make an impact, but just a young kid at the time, and hopefully he can continue to grow.
Absolutely. Let's talk college soccer here, because this is interesting, and this is going to make my blood boil here again today, so let's get into it.
I've been meaning to make a video on this, but have not had the time to do so. But college soccer promotion and relegation. So college soccer, as we've mentioned, is a 3 or 4 month sport now.
Usually August. Maybe if you're incoming freshman, you're probably coming into the environment sometime in early July. Usually your first game starts sometime the first week of August, and then it goes from August through December.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, this is a proposed plan. They want to change it to a full academic year sport. The season would start in August, end in April. There would be a break in December and January, kind of during that Christmas break time, that finals period time. Would get rid of conference in soccer, put them into 4 regionalized setup featuring 50 to 54 teams. This cluster of teams would be divided into a couple of tiers. Tier 1 would include 2 divisions, which would have 9 or 10 teams, I believe is what they said. And Tier 2 would consist of 4 divisions based on simply geography, so kind of think of your mid-majors. And then teams can be promoted or relegated based on performances in their team. There would still be an NCAA tournament at the end of the year. But, promotion and relegation potentially in college soccer. And, John, I'll let you get on your soapbox.
Oh, wow. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's just stupid. Okay? Why? Here's what we're trying to do, right? What is the purpose of this? Is the purpose of this to what?
Money.
To elevate the game? Money? Purpose of this is money. What money?
Yeah, because they're playing a lot longer of a season, and I don't know, and then you don't have to compete with.
Who's giving them the money though? Like, I mean, universities don't have money for soccer, so where's the money coming from?
I'm just saying, like, there's more games to be televised, more opportunities, and then in the. I also think, again, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that's what I think the reasoning is, and I also think the NCAA tournament for this would be in the baseball season, so you're not competing with the football season still when it normally is, and then the start of college basketball. So I think that's the main. I think the main focus is simply that. And another reason I read was it's to get rid of the 2 games a week, so they'd be playing like 1 game a week on like a Saturday or something. But yeah, I still think it would have to do with a little bit of money in the NCAA tournament.
This, to be fair, has everything to do with the MLS. Matter of fact, U.S. Soccer and the MLS cohorts are all involved in this whole process. They want the player who's coming out of Division I to be prepared to play in a season just like this. Absolutely. MLS is obviously talking about moving their season to be more in line with the EPL. Why? Because they want to create this pathway where everyone's on the same page. This is all about the next level. It has nothing to do with the college environment, and there's no money in college soccer. So if there's any conversation about money, there's no money in college soccer.
I was just saying for the NCAA tournament.
Well, and again, I mean, to be fair, the college soccer does not compete with football on any level, even from a viewership standpoint.
Or basketball,
the college
hockey.
soccer cup typically is on a Friday and a Sunday, Friday night, Sunday afternoon. So and it's so I don't buy that. Again, I understand what you're trying to say, but this is all about creating an environment where the athlete who's currently training right now goes all year round. They're preparing their body and the way they play for the next level, and they all want to get together so that they can do that because they think that that's what's going to make the player better and more well-rounded going into the professional environment. Since the academies, by the way, were created to create a pathway for players to go from club to the academy to pro. That's what they were established for. They were not established to send them to college, but that's turned into, well, you're in the academy, you're going to go to college. And so now, while they're at college, they want them to have the same academy environment. It's exactly what they want. They want the same environment. So what do? You start in the spring, in the fall. You go all the way through the school year, and you end at the end with a tournament. That's exactly like every other school, academy, MLS, whatever you want to call it, all around.
Let me ask you this, just because
they're just trying to mimic that, and so that they prepare these players. That's it.
Let me ask you this, just because I'm curious, because I know we've talked about how it's a battle between college and the academies. Right, like there's the thing, the unique thing.
Well, college and academy are. I mean, they don't battle against each other because the academy it's over with when you're out of high school.
I think Nate's referring to the MLS academy in the college game. I think.
Yeah, but they don't coexist. You know what I mean? They're not the same. Like a kid who's in high school right now,
right,
who's going to graduate, isn't going to be. He can't play in the academy next year. He has to go play college, go play pro. Like he can't.
I think Nate is going after the MLS academies that are continue to grow through, like the under 21s, the under 23s, under 8, whatever it is, compared to playing in college. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. So like getting on the same schedule and creating a relationship that's a kind of conclusive together for the two sides, right? So we can filter more of those top players into college soccer. I mean, I don't necessarily see that as a terrible thing. The other thing that I'll say, JT, and you and I talked about, and people got us on social media about this, and I thought it was funny because it is a wild, long shot, and I don't think it would ever actually happen. But we talked about making like a game day for soccer, like making like a one day where we like get the media involved and everybody knows that it's on this one day. That's something that it gives you the opportunity to create something like that if you stretch it out the entire academic year. Like there's more flexibility with what you can do with the games and who's playing. Also, let's remember, if we have a tiered system, if we have a top tier, that means you're only getting top tier matchups. Like we're not, Michigan's not playing who the heck knows and scoring 8-0 on them on a Wednesday night. Like it actually might create exciting matchups after exciting matchups, like week after week. So there might be a little more flexibility. There might be something to be said there. I don't think that it's, I mean, I see what you're saying about how it is completely based off of the MLS, but I think there might be a little bit of wiggle room to maybe create something out of this to where we can see a little more hype around the matchups we see, if it is just once a week, but we're getting tier 1 matchups.
Yeah, you're still going to have not only games. You're still going to have teams.
Oh yeah,
right,
exactly.
That's still not going to. I mean, again,
but they do that in the pros too.
Well, I mean, for the most part, at the MLS level, the only non-pro team you're going to play is going to be in the potentially U.S. Open Cup. There's no other. You see a friendly that's not televised between whoever and whoever, but most of those games are all going to be your the teams that you're going to play throughout the season. But with that being said, the MLS Next Pro was designed and created so that players who either recently graduated from high school or players who maybe decided to bypass college could have a home to play in that environment. I believe it is treated as professional, and so you're going to get paid to be in that environment. And so there's a place already for this, right? And so I think that there's players out there who are already in these environments being there. What we're trying to do is to create a system in this country where everybody is doing the exact same thing all the time, and they think that that's going to create the next best player, right? That's going to be on the U.S. men's national team. That's going to help us get to the promised land. I don't subscribe to that way of thinking. I don't know if we all need to be doing the exact same thing all the time in order for that to work. And again, there's a reason why they call them professionals. There's a reason why the MLS exists and why they play in those time periods. So I do not support this change in college soccer. I think that if it, just like high school, there's something special about high school. There's something special about the fall in your high school soccer environment, in the high school football environment, right? There's something to be said about the fall. And the fall is this magical time where you get to go be a student athlete and get to participate in this. And it all, again, you have your league games, your non-league games, you have your conference tournaments, and then you have the NCAA tournament. All those things happen in the fall, and I think it's great. I think that's what makes college soccer special. And if we start making these changes, I don't know what college soccer is going to look like, and I just don't support it. And again, what's the purpose? If the purpose is to make the college athlete a better athlete, then fine. Show me the benefits of that. You're saying playing once a week? Fine. There's a benefit to that. All these teams play.
Do you think maybe they could steal away some of those players that would decide to bypass college?
No. Because if you're a pro, if you think you have the ability to go play pro, you're going to take that chance. Now, again, if you're a fringe player, you aren't sure you're going to hang around college for as long as you can. But with doing there's a risk of injury, risk of whatever. I mean, there's all these risks associated. So if you're a player who has the chance to play at the next level, you are taking that chance. You can come back and take college classes anytime you want to, right? So, I mean, that's the truth. And so if you have the ability, you're going to go. I don't think that this is going to create an environment where, like, well, we're taking more players and to the next level. I don't think it's like some kind of a breeding ground, right? I don't think it's going to create that. I think it's going to create the same thing we have now, which is you have players who could possibly play pro, they'll play college for a bit, and then you'll pluck them out like you do now. If there's a benefit from this of playing less games, or you have more time in between games, great. But even the MLS, has a midweek game now, right? You play Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Thursday, right? That happens mid-season. Right? I mean, I think that's a schedule in the MLS is where you play at the beginning of the season, the first few weeks, months, whatever, you don't actually play more than one game a week. But as the season goes on, you start to have a midweek game, and then you have your your weekend game.
Yeah, that's in every league.
Yeah. So I again, to go from we're going to do one game. Okay. Well, typically there's a game on Wednesday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday, whatever. I think it's the same thing will be true in college soccer. I mean, in the Horizon League season, what we cover, there's 2 games a week. It's usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays, or Thursdays and Sundays, right? I think the MAC we talked about was it's Thursdays and Sundays?
Yep.
Yeah, so they play 2 games a week, and they have like a longer break at the end of their Sunday game, and it gives them 3 or 4 days to get themselves back and ready to go. So if it's about rest, fine, but you're telling me that the athlete who now comes in July is done basically in November, most of them, and then they have a long break. They probably get back at soccer sometime in maybe February. Take 2 months off like they're planning on doing. And then they come back in the spring. They play spring ball until right around April, maybe the end of May. And then that's it. So they're already doing this, but they're not. I mean, and so it's kind of weird that they want to make this extended thing. Again, I don't like the idea of making these changes, but again, I've been wrong before, and they just got to prove me right. So, yeah.
I mean, I see what their intentions are with going that direction, but will it actually pan out to anything? Who knows?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably. Ryan, probably not. Nope, not going to happen. Well, let's take a look at question of the day.
Question of the day is actually kind of similar to what we just talked about. But Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Scan that QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. And I kind of already know the answer to this one, but I'm just throwing it out there because I think it's a little bit funny too. Why does every league in America want a promotion and relegation system except the MLS?
I just want to ask if that was ever or every, Ryan.
Why
back
does
on the
ev-
screen.
it
Well,
says
typo?
every. Yeah, it's supposed to be
I just
every.
want to. Okay, good. I just wanted to put that out there that that wasn't my eyes challenging me. That was actually you just didn't spell it right. Okay, good. So, why? Because it's like what did everyone grow up watching? Who's in their like their 20s now and their early 30s? They watch Pro Rel across the pond, and we're now infatuated with it. They're infatuated with the fact that a team can go up and a team can go down every year. You know, we're infatuated with that. Even at the high school level, if you play in the Oakland County OAA, right? There's the red, there's the white, there's the blue, and there's those three. And so if you finished in the top of the white division as the number one, you can go up to the red next year. Finish at the bottom, you can go down to the white. So we're infatuated with going up and down.
Even happens in football, basketball, and all of Michigan sports here, high school sports.
But let's be honest here. What will happen if we talk about what we just talked about for a second? Okay, you're going to sit there and okay, so we know off the bat that Michigan State, you know, basically any Big Ten team is going to be in that top tier, right? In this cluster, as they call it, right? The cluster, tier one cluster, right? And then what are you going to have in the second tier, right? You're going to have the Western. Well, actually, Western Michigan, I would actually imagine would be in that cluster, that top tier. But you'll have a bunch of Horizon League teams and some MAC teams thrown into that top tier, this second tier. And what's going to happen? They're going to be in the exact same boat, which is tier 2, 98% of the time, because that's where they would belong. So nothing will change. I mean, you know, do you think Buffalo is going to all of a sudden just be the best team ever and go tier 1? No, they're going to be Buffalo still.
Yeah. Well, so the one thing I'll say. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you why it is. The why it is because look at every other league in the United States. They're all closed structure leagues. Like that you can't enter or leave. Like the NBA, you're not going to see the Pistons get relegated to the G League, right? The NHL, you're not going to see the Wings get relegated to the AHL. In Major League Baseball, you're not going to see the Tigers get relegated to AAA. Like that just doesn't happen. So the MLS, like all the other leagues in the United States, is a closed off league. You cannot enter or leave. You can enter, but you know there's a lot of there's a process and dues and money that you have to put in order to get in. So that's why it is what it is. Why we don't have Pro Rel. I mean, we talked about the logistical nightmares of it, but also like, how are you going to convince an American owner who has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, hey, your team didn't do well this year, so now you're going to be a part of the USL or whatever that second level is. You know, now you're going to be a part of this league. Now you're going to play in front of 5,000 people as opposed to playing in, you know, a 30 whatever, however many is 1,000-seat stadium. You know, you're not going to be playing at Gillette Stadium anymore. You're going to be playing at, I don't know, this Division III college, you know, like how are you going to convince American owners that, hey, sorry, you're going to lose out on a ridiculous amount of money. You might not survive this send down, but good luck, best of luck, you know, best to you. And the truth is like we don't a lot of places in the United States don't have the type of fan support and money and resources flowing in the way that these European teams do. Because even if a European team gets relegated to a lower level, they're still gonna sell a ton of merch. They're still gonna sell a ton of tickets. People are still gonna flood the gates and come to the games. It's not gonna stop any of that. But if you know, if you're talking about a team in the United States, that might be something completely different. But I'm not gonna be the one to convince an American owner that that's the right decision. And truthfully, it takes all of them coming together to make this decision. Like even if one or two of them are like, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. It's not going to work.
So a couple comments coming in from the TikTok chat. Mick Jack looks like he got out of his work meeting this morning, but he said 2 questions. He says, I would like to see promotion and relegation in the NHL. And then the other one, going back to the question of the day, his response is, because everyone else hasn't paid an inflated price to enter the league.
I don't know why that would even be a thing. What does the inflated price have anything to do with this?
Because you have to pay to get into the league?
Every league has a buy-in, and they're all inflated. I don't know. I mean, again, it's like a franchise. Too. Every franchise in America, you have to pay a franchise fee. That's just free money back to the company who has the franchise rights. And so then what do? Then they start gouging you for everything and nickel and diming you for everything, marketing costs, this, that, and the other. I don't blame the league for that. That's the cost of doing business. But Again, every league has their right. I have yet to see a league the way you pay the buy-in price, or you pay the franchise fee, so to speak, and it's worth the money, right? Where it's all equal. I would love to give me an example of when you paid the money and it actually made sense. I was like, oh, that was the right amount of money to pay to get in that league.
Beckcheck also says, if I pay $500 million to join the MLS, I'm not willing to risk relegation.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the amount of money that you invest just to get in, facilities, all of it, man. It's like, good luck.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's why the USL is doing what it's doing. That's why USL USL is in a perfect place to be able to kind of make that work, right?
Yeah.
The buy-in is not that kind of money, right? And again, between their USL 2 and W and League One and USL Championship, there is a natural way in which it makes sense, because USL League One, they're playing in front of 4,000 or 5,000. I mean, Championship, I think they're between like that number and 15,000, right? So it's not a bad place to go. And so I think in the USL, it's absolutely a possibility if they do it right. But yet we're infatuated with it because it's all we know. If you're a soccer fan in this country, you are in love. We talked about this yesterday. You're in love with the Premier League.
Yep.
And so if the Premier League is what you've been watching your entire life, you're like, oh my God, Arsenal, they're towards the bottom. They could get relegated. Oh my God.
It's not happening.
It's like, holy crap, they could get relegated.
No.
But it's like, but that's the thought that you have when you love that team, or you love the EPL. And here, you finish bottom of the table, who cares? You see you next year. It's like, see you next year. And I think that's the part that people want to see is this. It also makes the fight a little more interesting, right? Because if you know that you are going to finish the bottom two, right, and there's a chance you could go down, you're doing different things toward the end of that season to give yourself that extra point, right? You're doing things different to find a way. Where in otherwise, because what do we talk about in the NFL season, right? Every year, right? You're towards the bottom. You're out of the playoffs. What do? You start sitting people. You maybe get rid of some people to get some trade. Give some players away and get some trade value and some draft value. And so you start just who cares? We don't want to win. We want the number one draft pick. So we're going to lose some games. You can't do that in the EPL. You can't do that. You have to fight because you don't want to get relegated. So there's something to be said about all that. It's hard to see it working here just because of what Nate had said and what Mekjak had said about the risk of your $500 million buy-in.
Yeah. It's not that we don't like it. It's just that logistically, I don't think it would work.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And to say that there'd be some kind of a tier again, if you're, it's weird because I think about it in the college environment too, right? With like the Horizon League, right, or like the MAC, right? Some tier system where all these teams which are basically their own, and where would these conferences go? How would that work? Like the Horizon League still exists?
Not in soccer.
Yes, I'm saying like that would be you're going to do. That's why I'm saying like I don't know how that would work because you're going to tell me that the Horizon League is just going to like say, okay, well, it's fine, see you later. This sport's gone. Like I don't see that happening. You have the Big Ten is just going to stop. Did we just lose TikTok?
We did, yeah. Inactivity.
Well, dude, Ryan Galinsky,
what?
Our producer is in charge of TikTok, and we just got lost on TikTok. It's like, come on now, man.
Well, sometimes it just goes off if you don't like. I've had that
like an hour.
before.
I know, I get it. But again, my point is, I don't see conferences saying, yeah, we'll just go ahead and let these. Well, go ahead, because then you don't have your conferences anymore. What tier? Okay, so tier 2 is its own conference. What, the Horizon League and Big Ten become their own? It just doesn't make sense. That's where I think you're going to have a hard time because all these conferences make a shit ton of money, and they have contracts with ESPN. I mean, Horizon's ESPN, Big Ten is Big Ten Network. You've got the MAC has like a combination of like Flow and GLIAC is with Flow. I mean, you have all these different media contracts that will also go to the wayside. So it would be a very, very difficult thing to accomplish. But that wraps up number 180 here today, guys. Another good show.
Talk about turkey.
We talked about turkey. I got 2 turkeys who I work with here on the show and who don't like turkey. Well, one likes turkey, one doesn't care for turkey and thinks that turkey shouldn't be a priority on Thanksgiving. So that's a whole other conversation for another day. The next question I have is candy corn a go-to item on Halloween?
No.
No.
Hell
So you
no.
both subscribe to the candy corn is garbage.
No, I love candy corn.
You love candy corn?
No, I don't.
Oh.
It's trash.
I do think my wife loves candy corn, by the way. But I know that Neil Rule hates candy corn. He hates it so much that when people put bags of candy corn on his table at work, he gets his blood starts to boil.
I've seen
Those
that
and
bag
milk
of candy
duds.
corn.
Yeah, he does not. He hates candy corn. So,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah. So Halloween is just around the corner, coming up here on Friday. Do you guys want to? Any of you interested in dressing up on Friday for Halloween on the show?
I got something on the way. I'll let you know.
Nate Wanger's got
something. It's a secret. It's
got a secret. Earlier today, we received a box from Midwest United FC. We're going to unbox that here a little bit later this morning and put that on social media. They sent us a care package. We'll take a look what that has to offer and so much more. But this was number 180. That's Nate Wangler. I'm Jonathan Turner. Ryan Glinsky, our producer. Be back here tomorrow morning for number 181 here on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.